Imagine watching the two people you love most, your childhood hero and the sister you never had, living a perfect love story, until one of them shatters it. What do you do when your own brother humiliates the kindest woman you know? You either look away or you burn his double life to the ground. Guess which one I chose? If you've ever been betrayed or wished you could see justice served to someone who thought they could walk all over people, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle up. This isn't just revenge, it's a masterclass in consequences. Growing up, my brother wasn't just my sibling, he was my hero. The kid who taught me how to ride a bike, snuck me candy when mom wasn't looking, and stood up to bullies when I was too scared to open my mouth. To me, he could do no wrong. Sally wasn't just my brother's childhood friend. She was a fixture in our lives. She'd come over after school, plop down at our kitchen table, and laugh with us until my sides hurt. She babysat me, helped my mum when things got rough, and treated me like her own little brother long before she and my brother ever dated. So when they finally started dating and later got married, it wasn't some shocking twist. It was the most natural thing in the world. Everyone thought they were the perfect couple. I knew they were the perfect couple. At first, I didn't even know there was someone else. All I knew was my brother started acting off. He was glued to his phone, smiling at texts that weren't from Sally. He stayed up late on calls, whispering in the dark. And then one night, he just dropped the bomb. I met someone online. I'm leaving Sally. No shame, no tears, just cold. When I looked at Sally's face, I'll never forget it. She didn't scream. She didn't throw things. She just stood there, pale and shaking, like someone had ripped her heart out in slow motion. Cheating is already vile, but what my brother did next, that's what really ignited the fire in me. Instead of letting Sally heal, my brother trashed her. He told his mistress, some long-distance fling he'd never even met, that Sally was obsessed with him, that she was pathetic, that she was the reason he had to hide their love. And his mistress? She ate it up. They mocked Sally in texts, laughed at her pain. Meanwhile, Sally quietly tried to rebuild her life, never saying a bad word about him. I'd hear him on the phone, calling Sally crazy, clingy, delusional. He made her heartbreak sound like her fault. You know that feeling when your chest is so tight you can't breathe? When anger and helplessness mix until you feel like you might explode? That was me. Every single day. I wanted to expose him, to scream the truth to his mistress. He's lying. He's still married. You're not his soulmate. You're his side project. But I had no proof. And my brother, he's a master manipulator. If I confronted him, he'd twist it. He always did. That's when Wendy stepped in. Wendy is one of my closest friends, sharp as a razor and twice as dangerous when she's mad. One night, after I vented to her, she leaned back in her chair, eyes gleaming. If he's going to lie, she said, let's make sure those lies blow up in his face. Wendy didn't just cook up a plan. She built an army. Our D&D group, in. Her housemates, in. Their boyfriends, in. We became an Avengers squad for justice. Wendy dubbed us the Council of Ladies, and me. I was their honorary little brother with a vendetta. At first, the idea was simple: catfish him until he dumped his mistress. But we realized that wasn't enough. He needed to face something undeniable, something he couldn't weasel out of. That's when the honey trap was born. Wendy created a persona perfectly tailored to my brother's weaknesses. She joined the same online communities he haunted, same hobbies, same humor. She became his dream girl. It started with harmless flirting, then private messages, then late night calls. And my brother, he fell hard. He started canceling calls with his mistress to talk to Wendy. He told her she was different, special. the one he'd been looking for. Meanwhile, sometimes when he thought he was sexting Wendy, he was actually texting one of our guy friends from the council, 30 years old, eating chips on his couch while typing out the cheesiest, steamiest nonsense. I wish I could say I felt bad, but I didn't, because every humiliating message he sent was one more step toward justice. Finally, Wendy suggested they meet up in person. She dangled the bait, a fancy night in a hotel. My brother was so desperate, he spent the savings he'd been hoarding to visit his mistress on a non-refundable luxury room. He thought this was going to be the night of his life. Instead, it was the night his double life ended. The Council of Ladies waited nearby as Wendy executed the final act. She met him at the hotel, smiling, playing her part perfectly. "Why don't you hop in the shower while I get ready?" she said. He didn't hesitate. While he showered, Wendy unlocked his phone. He'd given her the passcode weeks ago and opened his mistress's texts. When he came out, towel around his waist, Wendy was standing there, holding his phone. "How many girlfriends do you have?" she screamed. "You didn't tell me you were married." He froze, stammered, tried to explain, but Wendy stormed out before he could get a word out. Then she texted his mistress. Screenshots, proof, a girl-to-girl heads up that her boyfriend wasn't just a liar. He was still legally married. Within minutes, the mistress went nuclear. She blocked him on everything. His trip, cancelled. His money, gone. His ego, shattered. He spent that night alone in a hotel room, surrounded by the wreckage of his own lies. When he came home, humiliated and broke, the council celebrated like it was a national holiday. Sally never took him back. She didn't need him. She deserved better, and she knew it. Watching her slowly heal, surrounded by friends who actually loved her, was more satisfying than any hotel stunt. And me? I felt lighter, like the weight I'd been carrying finally lifted. Justice wasn't just served, it was earned. Here's what I learned. You can juggle lies for a while, but eventually gravity wins. My brother built his world on deception, and it collapsed exactly as it should. Sometimes you just need a council of ladies to speed up the process. And for those wondering, everything we did was 100% legal. Wendy never asked for money or made explicit promises. The only person who crossed the line was my brother. Betrayal hurts worst when it comes from family, but watching someone face the consequences of their cruelty, that's healing. That's justice. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen? And don't forget to subscribe, because we've got plenty more stories of sweet, sweet justice coming your way.